So we've been talking a lot about this season everywhere across social media, in the media, about how this Premier League season has been very poor. And before I just dive into everything that's happened at the weekend, I was lying in bed last night thinking, is it? Is it really? I feel like this gets said all the time now, especially online. But if we just quickly just go down the league table here, and I'm all about like what's the story of the league? What's the story of the season? Like what are the stories that are in there? What are things that are happening? You've got Arsenal top after that win against Everton, which we'll dive into. Probably about to seal their first league title in 20 plus years. You've got Manchester United rejuvenated a little bit under Michael Carrick. It feels like the good times are back and how they play after going through a stubborn kind of coach in Ruben Amorim. They've been completely revived as of now, it looks like. Aston Villa in the mix for Champions League hunts again. You want a little bit of mixture from the traditional kind of same teams getting in there. They're still in there fighting in that mix there. Liverpool, who were the Premier League champions last year, who spent upwards of 400 million, fifth in a world of trouble. Managers in a world of trouble as another storyline there. If you kind of just go down through the league, Sunderland, who are now kind of floating down in 13th, but they've been a good story so far this season with how they've come up, and they're obviously not going to go down, so that's not all three teams going down again. And then as you hit the bottom, you've got the likes of Tottenham, who are down and in the relegation battle and in the mix. So there are plenty of stories there, and there's plenty to play for with 8 games left to go, which is not always the case. It's really not always the case. A lot of the times in the last season, relegation's kind of been done, and even the league title's kind of been done and wrapped up. And as much as it probably is now, there's still a lot going on there. So it's really not been as bad a season as everyone has made out. But I'm going to start it off with Liverpool because I keep finishing with Liverpool. They were the last game, Super Sunday yesterday at home to Spurs, and you need to be putting your foot down, foot on the throat, going against a team that have got no confidence, fully broken in Spurs, and you're at Anfield, and yeah, just take all belief away from them. Every single little bit of belief away needs to be taken. And Liverpool don't do that. And Spurs have belief. They stay in the game. They feel like they're going to get something. You could almost feel like something was coming. Look, it's an indictment on who Liverpool are under Arne Slot now. It is. And you can talk about injuries and squad depth, and there's always little bits and pieces that play into it. But this is who Liverpool are under Arne Slot. And it's quite simply not good enough. And look, I called it. I'll have something pop up here on the screen, a little DM that I sent to LT when he was like, "You'll smash Spurs," and I was like, I'm honestly not too sure, mate. I really am not. Like, Liverpool are just set up for Spurs to go and get something there, and I think I said Spurs will probably win, but there's no rhythm, there's no intensity. You can shove all your formation stuff and all that side of the game in the bin for me right now. It is purely just about, there's no fitness, there's no running hard, pressing, there's no being difficult to play against. It's so easy to play against. It reminds me of Erik ten Hag's Manchester United. It's just open and easy to play through and easy to get chances against and continue to have belief. And okay, as much as Liverpool might still go forwards and have chances and maybe have a little bit more of the ball, you're soft. You're easy to play against. And there's lots of little things where players, the passing's not looking good, it's not looking great, so can you put a little bit of blame on the players? I'm not always against that. I'm not just saying it's all on the manager. But for me, that comes from habits and everyday training and what the energy and feel is around the club with you as a leader. And I'll keep saying this, I'll repeat it. Arne Slot has given me potentially top best day of my life I've had, top 3 best days of my life I've had, going down to Liverpool with my brother Matthew and watching Liverpool lift the league title just about a month after our dad had passed away, who never got to see Liverpool lift the league title that wasn't in COVID. So I will forever be grateful for that, and I will forever cherish that day and that moment. And brilliant. I thank you so much for that. But this is just, it's not been it. All the signings have made sense to me. I know there's been injuries again. I get that. You've missed out on Isak, who your main guy is, that you hunted all summer long, and you can say, well, that's your own problem that you hunted him all summer long as to why he's not there, and blah, blah, blah. But he makes sense. Frimpong's looked good when he's played. Kerkez has settled in. Absolutely. Okay, again, you can talk about the squad depth and not really liking Gakpo off the left, and Salah's not been quite Mo Salah, but I think if you have the team ticking, those aren't as big problems. You look at them and go, they're issues, but you're getting by, I think, and you're comfortably probably sitting in the Champions League spots and maybe with a little outside hope of doing something in Europe. And right now, there's just there's nothing. I don't think Liverpool are going to get in the Champions League spots. I mean, Chelsea are just as inconsistent, obviously losing at home to Newcastle, but the leadership there, and there's a lot of stuff going online, on Twitter. I'm not going to speculate about that because you don't know what's true. Everyone just kind of can make shit up there. But one thing I've noticed, and I know this is modern day life, and I know this is kind of modern day sport, and in particular football, but I used to always say this to a lot of my mates when Klopp was in charge compared to like the United era, which I saw a lot online in social media, and it was like Garnacho and Man United are losing, constantly posted in like designer gear and in his fast cars, and other players as well doing that. And, Liverpool online social media was very much just kind of like training pics, and that was all that you get. I noticed this week after, was it Galatasaray defeat, I think it was, Curtis Jones is posting, pictures of him in designer gear and cars, and Ibo Konate's in Paris quite a lot, and like, they're absolutely allowed to do this. I'm not having a go at either of those players individually, or that you're not allowed to do that as a football player, as a human being. Of course you can, I understand that, but my point is just more, there's a cultural big shift that's happened at Liverpool since winning the league last season. We have been shocking since winning the league last year. We have been. And there was a lot of last minute winners at the start of the season, and you start a new season afresh, and I was saying that's what champions do. Because it is, when champions aren't playing well, they get last minute winners. But yeah, looking back now, it absolutely did paper over all the cracks, and we're seeing the reality of who Liverpool are under Arne Slot. And he's never had a difficult time as a manager, so it's the first time he's had to go through it. So there's a little bit of me that says if he gets in the Champions League, can he learn from it? Can we move forwards? But I think ultimately the fans have lost the connection now with him and the team. And that is sacred for any football team, but has certainly been sacred for Liverpool in the recent times as to what's made everything so special. And there was obviously boos going on yesterday, and you can say whether you think booing is right or it's not right, but that's how the fans feel. And the continued lackluster performances and no energy, and just, I've said this as well, just not understanding how to use Anfield. See, your possession style type game, Arne Slot, that's all fine, but see at home at Anfield again, especially against Spurs, or hopefully in the midweek against Galatasaray in the Champions League, throw that in the bin for the first 15, 20 minutes and get the fucking football forwards and get on top of them and get the crowd going and just create a little bit of chaos and see if you can come out with it a goal up, if you're lucky, maybe 2-0 up. And I know that doesn't always happen. It didn't always happen under Klopp, and it wouldn't have always happened under Shankly or Paisley, but use what you have. Stop trying to just do this passive style of football. And I'm listening to his press conference after the game, and it's not even going into my head. I'm not even taking into what he's saying, because I'm not feeling it, mate. I'm not feeling it. I think you've lost yourself a little bit. I do. I think he's lost himself a little bit. And again, it's not a diss, but I think he's lost himself a little bit. So it's just not acceptable enough, and it gives a little bit of a lifeline on the Spurs side of things. A point there to maybe start to pick something up and not get relegated here. But, they had enough chances and stuff yesterday, so they can show in games that they can definitely create things. Staying on the race for those Champions League spots, Man United cruise it again. I think they currently play the best football to watch in the league in terms of going forwards, with Cunha and Buemo and Bruno Fernandes, Sesko up top, Ahmad as well. That absolutely pains me to say that, but they do. Bruno Fernandes breaks David Beckham's assist record this season. I mean, just the simplicity of playing the man as a number 10 and giving him freedom just to drop off the striker and do what he wants. Not overcomplicated. They've built a really strong attack there, Manchester United. They have built a really strong attack, and they've got something to build off of. And, he's got the balance elsewhere. I still think improvements will need to be made at the back. In the midfield's good with Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo. Well, they look to extend Casemiro's deal for another year, before you would say no. But again, not complicated. They set out a match of the day. It's simple. It's him and Mainoo there, and they're covering that space together, and he's not playing in there with Bruno, who's pulling all over the place, and Casemiro, who's older, is not being asked to cover a whole lot of ground. And it's really just basic, but fair play to Michael Carrick. He's got that buzz back, and they look like they're going to comfortably sail to third, and maybe even, after City drop points again at home to West Ham, maybe even catch Man City. Who knows? But yeah, it's just it's fair play. It's a rough weekend for me on that front with Liverpool, Manchester United, but they look like they're going to cruise to third place. With regards to the title race, City do drop points at West Ham, and that's been Man City, and Arsenal get that win against Everton. You can see how Arteta's celebrating the 2 goals, and Max Dowman becomes the youngest player is it to score in the Premier League. That felt like the moment, really, where you're like, yeah, it's Arsenal's. It's Arsenal's. You know, there's been a little bit of back and forth and they drop points here and City just kind of pull back and can they stay on the shoulder? But Arsenal, for the most part, are very, very consistent and are staying really, really consistent with the wins. And City just aren't. And look, City will probably go out the Champions League, I would think, to Madrid. And I'd imagine Arsenal get through against Leverkusen this week. So, you know, throws in a little bit there. Arsenal have got to kind of still juggle that. But they've got the squad and they've just got the momentum. They're in that place that when your team's doing well, we've all seen it, they're in that place. They'll get over the line and they'll get the league title. Unless something majorly happens, I'm going to give Arsenal congratulations now. I think that's the weekend that you've really won the Premier League. And yeah, first one after 20 odd years. And we maybe don't like the style and all of that, but the best team wins the league and you have to respect it. So you take it from there. I think that's about it with regards to the Premier League that I want to talk about. You know, the Scottish League, Hearts lose at home to Kilmarnock. Celtic win, Rangers win, and here we are now. We're in the battle, and Hearts are very, very, very much in the mix. Never felt like they were going to keep a decent enough gap, 5, 8, 9 points. It always felt as if it kept just getting pulled back, and look, as poor as Celtic are, and obviously Rangers have got a lot better under Danny Rose. They've pulled themselves back into the mix, and this is where it all kicks into gear now, isn't it? This is where it all kicks into gear. We're coming up to the split, and I think all eyes for a lot of people will be on the Scottish League now after, as I've just said, with what Arsenal done. I don't see anything changing with that. So all eyes will be on Scotland and Hearts. And can they handle the pressure? And after a loss there, Derek McInnes is going to have to get them right back on the horse. And they've been good at doing that so far this season. When you lose games and you think, oh, they're going to crumble, they're going to falter here. And, you know, as a neutral in the space and everyone that is a neutral, you know, please, your Hearts, stay in the mix. Keep it interesting. Don't ruin it. Don't bottle it. You guys are there. Get out there. You've got 90 minutes every week. Play the game. All right, yeah, you'll feel a little bit of pressure. Got to try and go for wins here. Points might not be quite good enough, but try and just manage the game as best as you can. But we're in for a hell of a title race for Scotland, and really, really looking forward to that. All eyes will be on that. Moving in, Champions League this week. I'm off to Paris tomorrow morning, so I'll get you know, as much content out as I can about the Champions League football with that. Probably most likely just be on my phone. Quick little posts on Instagram and TikTok and everything like that. But yeah, another big weekend. Man United solidify themselves as third. Arsenal pretty much crown themselves as champions. And Liverpool are a fucking shambles, while Hearts are really, really in the mix with Celtic and Rangers. Hope everyone has a good start to the week. And until the next one, have a good one, all right, team? Peace.